We are live. It is Wednesday, September the 16th, 2020. It's 6:32 p.m. Eastern, 3:32 p.m. Pacific. Although we don't have everybody from Pacific watching, so I don't know why I mentioned that. Welcome to NasCanucks, presented by Viber Print. I'm your host, Ben, and this is my co-host and awesome cousin, Doug.
The better one. And we have a guest, as you can see. You may know her because she's also a movie buff. Because if you know her on Facebook or her Instagram, she also did a remake of Kevin Costner's Dances with Wolves. She did Dances with Chickens. Amy Taylor of Joe Gibbs Racing.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I did not know that was coming, and I'm turning a little pink right now.
Hey, my thing is our friend Marcus is he said that it might make him want to dance, and that scared me a whole bunch.
Hey, I saw Marcus. Bring it on.
Hey, we got Bent Tom in the chat, our chief moderator. Good to see you, man. Nice. So, we're going to discuss, we got the Big 3 series running at Richmond this past weekend. We got a double header in the IndyCar series at Mid-Ohio, which there was... Funny enough, Doug and I were talking today, and I said, not much going on this race weekend. And then, sure enough, that last 20 laps I had to watch after we got off the phone, something significant was kind of cool that happened.
Yeah,
so
I didn't get to see those. Also, Pinty's round finished up this weekend.
Yes, and the Pinty series wrapped up as well. So we'll go through quick. We'll take care of the race coverage and go from there. So what do we got? The truck series first. That was 6 days ago.
Just Ben, Tom, we're going to get to that cup in a little bit because that is a championship cup.
Yeah, we shall. So yeah,
I can't see the comment. How do I see the comment? Oh wait, here. I think I got it.
Yeah, if you click on comments.
Yeah.
Now that's you like that. There it goes. Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second.
So we'll start with the truck series. When was the last time they ran the truck series at Richmond, Doug?
2005. 2005, and we will.
Now, 2005 makes me think of that guy who I have to say his name like when he raced at Suzuka.
Well, just a second though. We'll talk about that after you talk because I've got some other stuff to bring up about that 2005 race.
All right. Well, you bring up the 2000 because I'm only going to mention the winner. So, what do you want to talk about the 2005?
Well, let's finish talking first.
All right. Mike Skinner won the last race.
I wasn't finished talking about that. Finished talking about the 2020 race.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 2020 race. It was honestly a bit of a snoozer.
Felt like 2 weeks ago.
It did.
It's like.
Well, because nothing stuck out really. It was. A timid race. A lot of the racing this weekend was it's like that tone that started at Daytona. Very timid, nothing overly aggressive. Thank God they're reconfiguring California because we need more short tracks because Richmond, that wasn't a short track race. So
it was boring. If you ask me, I mean, I thought it was boring. I was bored.
And talking about the race, I thought Zane Smith had a good start.
He did.
Right. And also commentary, I love having Kurt Busch in the booth.
You know what? He doesn't talk as weird anymore. You know, where he's kind of talking with Yoda for a number of years there. He used the weirdest choice of words. And Kurt would say something, I'm like, what? And you have to decipher it.
No.
I enjoyed when Kurt and Kyle were both in the booth, but I agree. I think Kurt did a really good job.
Yeah.
So then, since it was a boring race, we'll go right to the end. Grant Anfinger bookending the regular season of the Truck Series with the win.
Yeah, which is great to see.
So, comes back to 2005.
Yes.
You did say that Mike Skinner was the winner.
Yes.
Who was Mike Skinner's crew chief of that race?
Oh, Jesus. Okay, 2005 Truck Series. Who is Mike Skinner driving for? Harvick, probably?
Do you want me to give you a hint?
Sure.
Who is Grant Enfinger's crew chief on Thursday night?
Oh, well, I have no idea.
That'd be Mike Hensley was crew chief The last time the trucks ran it at
so he had the setup.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So he crew chief the last race winner and the most recent winner.
Nice. So back-to-back wins for him at that track.
Yes. Only took 15 years to do it.
That's it. No biggie. All right. So yeah, Grant M. Finger wins truck race. That was cool. Then let's get into the first Xfinity race, which kind of reminded me of the second Xfinity race in many ways.
Like we talked, I think Herman is going to probably write a song about it because Justin the second or whatever.
Exactly. Yep. And he enjoyed the first win so much that he even helped change the wrap on the car.
I kind of like that. Like I know Amy, the JGR showed the video of them changing Martin's car around, but that's actually kind of cool how the double wrap.
Yeah, I wish I knew how they actually did that. Like one of our wrap guys, we have an entire decal shop that just like kills it. They're awesome. Print all of our own wraps and install everything ourselves. And I mean, I can't even get a bumper sticker on right. I can't imagine what it would be like to install two on top of each other that have to be perfect.
I don't know because I've done vinyl graphics. I haven't done wraps, but like it's one thing, that initial one, okay, I get it. You take your time and you razor blade it to do, but to put a second one because you don't have that flexibility of having water and metal underneath to slide it around.
Right.
You can't cheat. That's the thing. Yeah, you can't cheat it.
Well, and I know that they use heat to like stretch and pull and apply. So it's like, what are you doing to the second one? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's weird. I thought it's like magic.
And as we see there, I'm going to say that we see Smoke being rowdy there. That's
yes, that is my dog Smoke, and yes, I work for JGR, and yes, he is named after Tony Stewart.
But getting back to the wraps, right? Ben, you and I talked about it that if they can do it the double wrap like that, could you have a different sponsor each stage?
Yeah,
absolutely. You totally could.
I think so. I had each stage or even every pit stop, you have the extra man over the wall to pull off the windshield tear off. He does the hood tear off as well.
Yeah. But then you run into things like this, right? If you stop and think from like a business standpoint, say he wrecks out in stage 2 and you got money for stage 3 from some other sponsor and they don't get to see, you know what I mean? So it would be kind of difficult to promise that,
Right. Yeah, I think
something's out of your hands.
And how would you work the die cast on that?
Exactly.
Right? You got to place all the wrap on the die cast, and I think maybe one of the few sponsors, maybe M&M's a different M&M's variety under each one. That way it's still M&M's, but they're like, but he had that late crash. We didn't get to see the pretzels at the end.
Especially if they're coming out with a new flavor. I think they got like jalapeno, and they've got fudge. I mean, Lord knows what kind of flavors they'll come up with next. But
nothing wrong with that. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So, what do you say? Allgaier won it.
Yeah.
And Hendrick clinched the regular season, I guess. Which, yay for him, I guess.
Would rather have Brandon Jones.
You're so thrilled.
Oh, yeah, ecstatic.
But yeah, we'll move on. We'll segue on to the Cup Series.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah,
that's it about that too. Yeah, we had a good run in second place though. It seems like.
Yes. I wish we had a few more laps. I feel like maybe if we had a few more laps, just maybe a caution or something towards the end, Martin would have got him, but
it seems to me that's Martin's destiny this year is the second place finish.
And did I not predict the 2 was going to win last week?
I remember last week.
I think it was either my definite prediction or one to look out for.
No.
So I did the Hail Mary pick at Clint because Clint every once in a while, every 3 years he's good at Richmond, and apparently this isn't the 3rd year. So
I think for after this race, it's not more of who did well. It was, where are you that you're not doing so well with, like, who would expect Blaney to be number 16 or Benedetto to be 15?
Right.
We kind of knew Custer and Byron were kind of going to be the iffy guys, right?
Yeah.
But just the start that Blaney's had, like the penalty at the first race, then this week, loose tire like 10 laps in.
Right. It's
Right.
It's almost like, I don't know, maybe Roger stripped his team of all the top people and put him in all into Logano's team because he's not going to give him to Brad for whatever reason.
Only thing that's on Blaney's side is that he runs well at Bristol.
Yep.
He needs that win.
Yes, he does.
So
yeah. And I think my boy Boyer is sitting right in 12th at the moment by 1 point.
3.
He's right on the bubble by like 3 points. Yeah.
He's 3 points. Yeah.
I was expecting him to finish 13th in the points, so I figured he was going to be the best of the first cut. But so we'll see on that.
Well, for me, I'll go old school, and I just have to. Martin just has to finish 16th or better, and he advances.
Nice.
So you don't really have to think about where you finish to advance anymore, like we used to have with the championship. But we can do that now. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
Denny's locked in. I was pretty bummed about him making a mistake on pit road. And you know what's crazy is like Austin Dillon made the same mistake, and he ended up finishing. How much it was? What, third, fourth, something? I don't know. He was at the top, and Denny was like in the 14, 15. You know what I mean?
Well, even Harvick did the same mistake.
Yeah, just
right.
I don't know what happened. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Kudos to Austin Dillon on another good week. Like
that was a good week for him.
They seem to be, like they're one of the hot teams right now. They've caught that momentum.
Could it be that driver thing? Because since he's become a dad, he's kind of been on that incline, I guess, isn't it?
Doesn't happen to every driver when they become parents, though.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. Like my boy Clint, he needs to start drinking again on a daily basis.
My husband's a Clint fan. I know, again, I work for JGR and my husband is a 14 fan. But he always says that Clint is he loves Clint. He loves him as a person, a driver, whatever. But he's like the 8 to 12 driver. He calls him. He's like he's my 8 to 12 driver. He's gonna finish anywhere from 8 to 12.
Well, speaking of Clint, like Ben, you and I kind of sent you that video of the door bumper clear from this week.
Right.
Them talking about the running the second channel. I'm not sure if you've seen it, Amy, but Brett was talking about how Brett and Bugaravich used to kind of go on about Clint on the second channel, right? But that you can still hear on the app. And Clint's grandmother would call in and call Clint and say, they were saying this, and this about you. And then Clint would go back to Bugaravich going like, what are you saying this about me for?
That's so funny.
Yeah, and the two of them thought they were was calling each other out with Clint. Why'd you throw me on the bus? It was like, it was his grandmother.
Yeah. She wanted to come down and fight them. Like that.
Yeah, she's like, do I have to go down there and kick their asses?
That's so funny.
I think we can see where he gets it from.
Yeah.
So, that's for sure.
So we have our last cup race. Well, not last cup race. Last NASCAR race to talk about, which was the final of the Penny Series, which we get to see on TV the next 2 weeks here.
Yeah.
And I have found out that the Pinty's races are actually on MAV TV in the States.
Oh, really?
And MAV TV? I wonder if I even get that.
And they also are streamed on the NBC Track Pass, the NBC Sports Gold.
Oh,
so you can actually watch them on there. So
nice.
We claimed our winner. Jason Hathaway won the first race at Jucasa, the former Cayuga Speedway. And then DJ Kennington.
Nice.
Some people may remember from some of the cup races. Driven a couple. So,
including the infamous snow delay at Daytona.
Yeah, where he
could have a low driver in the field. Why, yes, we do.
Yeah. So Hathaway beat Kevin Lacroix by 14 points. Kennington was only 4 points back of Lacroix for a third place. So
wow,
short 6-race season, but we'll be back next year and hopefully be able to get to a couple races.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. And I'm going to quickly touch on the IndyCar doubleheader weekend. First race, not a whole lot to watch, to be honest with you. Will Power won the race. He ran well. Some good action.
I'm sorry, really quick. I don't follow IndyCar. Is his name really Will Power?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a Penske driver.
And he's a Penske driver.
In a Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Oh, bless his heart. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and and then on the Sunday race, we had a second-gen driver, Colton Herta, winning. And the big news is for the first time in, I think, 15 years, coming into that race, Andretti Autosport had 2 podiums all year, and they swept the podium in race number 2. So kudos to Andretti Autosport. Unfortunately, Marco was not one of the top 3. He finished 22nd, multiple laps down. But that. And the only time we saw the young Canadian Kellett in the field was driving for AJ Foyt Racing, also the 14, was him doing some extracurricular activity in the rhubarb patch off turn 4, I believe. So
yes, yeah, they were at where? Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio, which is a tricky little tight. Well, let's be honest. That track was built for cars with 100 to 200 horsepower, and Indy cars have more than that. So
yeah.
Although I love it when Xfinity runs there.
Yeah, that's always a fun race to watch.
So I guess with the races of the way, we got kind of our silly season stuff. So we know, Amy, you may not be able to talk about some of this stuff, but
I'm curious to see what you guys have to say today. Bring it on.
What are the rumors coming out of Canada?
We do have a little bit of Canadian content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, with Suarez not returning to Gaunt Brothers Racing. Right.
It's fine with me.
That was come out when because Gaunt Brothers, I'm not mistaken, Ben, are they not just from like right beside me here?
One is.
Yeah.
Yeah. One. My understanding is they raced, as teenagers. One moved in Mooresville around, let's say, 1990, 91. One stayed up around your place. And is it Randy that's down south, I think? He's been building and supplying motors up here since that time. I remember even like coming out of high school, guys buying motors out of Mooresville, secondhand cup motors and stuff like that, and bring them up here, and they get a whole season of it. They just detune it enough for it to last the season, and those things are bull. Pete Gibbons had his motor program down in Mooresville. For instance,
I don't know.
Hey, Terry.
The only Randy I know that's a brother combination is Slack. I don't know if he's still up here. Who they ran Jocasta Speedway, was formerly Cayuga. Now Rogers down at Eldora, working for Tony Stewart at Eldora Speedway.
It's a small world.
Yeah,
it's a small world.
So there's that. So that's another team that's got an open seat. I think were they a Toyota car? I think they were.
What number were they running?
Oh, now you make.
They're part time. So
96.
96.
Was it 96? I can't remember.
Yeah, could be a Toyota. Actually, that makes sense. I think he seems to be was working with Toyota somewhat. Like I think he was involved when early days of MWR doing some of that stuff. So
I know I forget what show I was listening to, but they were saying that they were linked with another Toyota team in the Cup Series, possibly.
Right.
Then there's also been another link changing from, I don't even know what they are anymore. Richard Petty. I forget what they're driving.
Richard Petty Motorsport.
Yeah, I know they're that, but what they go from Ford to Chevy? Did they not go to a Chevy here with Bubba?
I think they're still running Fords.
I don't know. There's them linked to going to Toyota, so there's.
Yeah, they're always linked to some team. They're a satellite team. Like in a way, I don't like these satellite teams, because it's like buying a kit car. But if it keeps names like Petty and the Wood Brothers in the sport, I'm all for it. So,
that, and then in the everything old is new again, Camping World coming back to the Truck Series.
I like it. I already called it the Camping World Truck Series anyways.
Well, when they had that, did they race the trucks at that other track in St. Louis? I forget, because that really would have sucked. You know, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series at something technology at Gateway, like 23 names for one race. Like, come on.
You couldn't tweet it out. There's not enough characters.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. Yeah, the signage is horrendous. The budget for signage was horrendous. They were able to have 3 signs. They encompass the speedway.
And I just butchered it. Waltrip would have did an even worse job on the commentary.
Yeah. See, that's where you gotta have a reputation like Junior does, because Junior can still call it the World 600, and nobody cares because Junior's old school that way. And I just have a piss poor memory, so that's why I still call it whatever series is what. And then Doug corrects me.
Speaking of Junior, going back to that door bumper clear, TJ Majors was kind of saying, Junior wants to talk, but him and Letarte really gave it to him on Channel 2 when he was Junior spotter and Letarte was the crew chief.
Mm-hmm. Fun. Yeah, that should be interesting if that comes up during this weekend's broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know. The other thing was, well, speaking of Junior Motorsports, the guy you talked about before, he's in the ARCA series, has run a limited truck schedule.
Okay.
Sam Mayer.
Yeah.
Will be driving for Junior Motorsports next year.
Nice.
The second half of 2021, full season of 2022. So, and he's actually going back to Junior Motorsports because he drove late model there in 2019-20.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. No, 18-19. That would have been this year.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Well, there we are.
That, and then that other guy who's former crew chief still won't let his new crew chief look at the laptop now that he's found it. Jimmy Johnson has got some sponsorship from IndyCar. I'm not sure which his sponsor is, but
Lowe's
sponsorship for his full schedule of the half schedule. Whatever.
Yeah, it's full-time partial schedule.
Yeah, he's full-time, part-time.
Which, well, he's kind of been that since Chad lost the laptop.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah.
Speaking of which, Hendrick likes to claim they do two-car teams rather than a 4-car set. Like the 24 and 48 are in the one shop, and the 88 and whoever, the 9, I guess.
They got to get a moving walkway between those two buildings too, because that walk sucks.
Yeah, they got to figure something out. But
yeah,
they always say, well, these guys help each other. Their buddy system. Really? Because after Chad found his laptop, he didn't pass along any of that winning information to anybody else within Hendrick Motorsports. So kudos, Chad.
So
okay. Karma's a bitch. That's why he's bald.
Hey, she's upstairs. Anyway, other news that's big for some people I've seen this morning. NASCAR has said that Kyle Larson has still not applied for reinstatement.
What's the point?
I don't know. But anyway.
It's going to be a rubber stamp anyways. Like, he's busy running sprint cars, having fun.
I thought he had. I missed that. I thought he had.
So did I.
That he was working on it.
But apparently Mike Bagley this morning tweeted out that he's talked to some people and that has not happened.
So is it...
Interesting.
Trackhouse still has not announced their driver either.
Fast Track?
Trackhouse. But yeah. Then
we shall see.
Only other thing I have is Darren Pittman. Last season with the World of Outlaws.
Really?
Which kind of, I would have liked to have seen him race one more time.
Sure. But, yeah, you've always been a fan of him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then speaking of World of Outlaws, former JGR driver, would have been his 45th birthday today. Killed in a World of Outlaws crash, Jason Leffler, which is another guy I always loved.
Yes, you did.
When we were down in Charlotte.
Might as well grab the diecast of Leffler.
Actually, yeah, you have it's the truck, isn't it?
Yeah. The number 2 Team ASE or CarQuest Dodge, Jason Leffler.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, happy birthday, Jason Leffler.
Yeah.
Heavenly birthday.
No, I think we got to see him run a sprint car one year, didn't we, Doug?
I've seen him go a couple times, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now that we got all the NASCAR silliness out of the way, we have our guest who's typing some of the stuff. And like I said on Twitter, she can talk about the heights that JGR can go to.
Yeah.
Exactly the height that they go to.
High, literally, not figuratively, of course, very literally high.
Yes. So you are the one that kind of gets them there.
Yeah. So, some people are surprised when they hear that our team, Joe Gibbs Racing, does have an aviation department. I am the aviation coordinator at Joe Gibbs Racing. We have 2 very large planes. They're called CRJ 700s, and they seat 68 individuals total. They look just like a regular airline plane.
If you say so, I think they look cooler.
Somebody's very needy and kind of like up my butt right now. I'm sorry. I am a mom of fur babies, feather babies, and real babies. So anyway, so we have 2 of those, and they look just like a regular airliner. They're just, I guess, maybe cleaner. I don't know. And we, prior to COVID, we transported approximately 120 to 130 folks to and from the racetracks every weekend. So, I mean, that's a lot of moving parts. And it really is more cost advantage, because people think to myself, they think like, oh my gosh, it like own an operate a whole airplane. Like that's a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. But if you stop and you think about 130 people at $400, $500, $600 a pop, trying to get schedules, I mean, it's insane to think, how much money in the commercial airline that we would actually be spending. So we can get them there to and from safely under our own, under our own umbrella, basically, and on our own schedule. We want our people to be at the top of their game. And if that means, we get them home right after the race is over with, so they can get in their beds to their family sooner, then that's so be it. Our people are important to us. So that's kind of what I do. I take care of we've got, oh gosh, if I could count off the top, we have a total of 25 people in our entire department. That includes maintenance, pilots, and flight attendants. So I coordinate, when they land, those pilots have to have a car to get where they're going and need a hotel to kick up in until it's time to turn around and, fly everybody home. So I coordinate all of that, all of their stays, and basically anything else that they need. So it's pretty cool.
Well, now talking about stays, I know that we've talked about this before, is everyone wants the NASCAR schedule to change to get this race to that race. Nicely, how did you feel about the new changes to this year, going to Indy during spring break?
Oh man. So COVID has thrown a complete wrench in how we operate. Normally I coordinate based on what NASCAR releases, before this year's ended. I usually know where we're going, when we're going there for the next year. And I usually by now have everything booked for the following year. So when COVID came and we had excuse me, my dog. We had our spring break, as you call it, and everything got shook up. It was insane. It was always a logistical nightmare. So, I mean, I don't ever want anything to change. I like the way that it is. It's very helpful for it to be like that. But I guess, flexibility is the key to air power. That's what we used to say when we were in the Air Force. So.
And if they decide to do more doubleheader races, does that really affect you much? Does easier the same?
It does. So we only need 1 plane to bring home our Xfinity teams. Everybody that's required for our Xfinity teams. So for example, for Richmond, we flew out on. Hang on one second. We had someone in timeout. Sorry, my bad. So we had the doubleheader Xfinity race, for example. So we because we need one plane for the Xfinity folks, and we need 2 planes to bring all of our Cup folks home. So when there's a double header on the same day, we have to fly home the Xfinity people, and then we have to turn around and come back empty so we can get all of the Cup with both planes back. So it's like it's a constant back, forth. Heaven, oh man, I can't imagine if we decided to do a double header at like a West Coast or even like Texas or something like that. Like, I don't even know where how that would work.
At least on the plus side, if they knock out 2 races in one day, there's going to be another weekend where like Xfinity is going to run twice at the same track. So.
Right, yeah. And the weekends, and it's crazy. Like people don't think about this, but like when Cup's in Michigan and like Xfinity's in Sheboygan. What's in Sheboygan?
Road America.
Yeah. People don't think about this, but it's like we're hopping. I mean, we're stopping in Michigan. We're coming. You know what I mean? We're going all over the map. Thankfully, again, I'm from Michigan. I know where Wisconsin is in relation to it. So thankfully it's like right there, but man, it's a crazy, the schedules can get pretty crazy basically. So
well, even with that, we've also talked as well too, because if, you have your plans, but then if someone else decides to change their plans, fly into your airspace last minute, you've now shortened that window because you've said election year. Some people are kind of.
You don't even want it. Oh. We've had a couple times Vegas this year, earlier in February. The Orange Man was out there, and I mean, we had to adjust our whole schedule based on the airspace and when it was available for us to move in there. And oh man, it's crazy. But I have a killer team working with me. Like my pilots, my flight attendants, my director of aviation. We also have a whole travel department on the Cup side. Well, on the I say the race team side just because I don't sit at the actual race shop. I'm at the airport. But over at the race shop, we do have a travel person who is in charge of all the moving parts of all of the travel, and I work closely with her so I know who's coming and when they need to be there and things like that. So that's really helpful too. I mean, I don't book hotel rooms for all the pit crew and drivers or anything like that, thankfully.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, is it like the Joe Gibbs team members, are they also like, as far as for pit crews and stuff like that, they also would support in the Kyle Busch Motorsports, like the truck teams and stuff?
We actually, we do here and there fly KBM around. We flew them to Richmond this year. We're flying them to Anniston, to Talladega. Not this weekend, next weekend. So yeah, we do have some contracts there. Well, it's not really contracts. It's just
Well,
Kyle's our driver.
Like JR Motorsports is not Hendrick Motorsports Xfinity program, even though it is Hendrick's Xfinity program in many ways. And KBM miraculously has a lot of drivers come through Kyle's shop and end up with Gibbs somehow. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. We're not really technically like in cahoots with KBM or anything that I know of. Like I said, I'm just a little guy, but I do know Kyle's Kyle does so much for our team, he's such a big face for our team. So I know that I'm sure they've got something worked out in his contract that that who knows. I don't know.
So exactly. With those guys, we know that Denny has his own plane. I believe I think Kyle does as well too. I think. Yeah,
so Denny does have his own plane, and we do manage that plane. We do all the maintenance and we keep it clean, and we provide the pilots for that plane. Kyle has his own plane as well, but we don't maintain that plane. He pays somebody else to take care of it. So that's one less thing for me to do.
Yes, and importantly, this year you don't have to clean the Mikey smell out of Denny's plane on a weekly basis. Just saying. For the man who loves to brag how he's always tagging on Denny's plane whenever he can drop that phrase.
Yeah.
I love Michael Waltrip. That's what you're talking about, right? You're talking about. Yeah. And, yes, I adore that man. He is so genuinely nice. Like every time he's come through the hangar, like us, he's always stops and chit chats with us. He's such a good dude. I like that guy.
I like to give him a hard time.
Yeah.
And we're allowed because
yeah,
he claims to be 1/16th Canadian, so.
I'm like Canada's little sister. Like, I was born and raised in Northern Michigan, not the Youper. I'm not a Youper. But I thought it was funny when you guys came out with your name of NasCanucks. I was like, I used to always call Canadian Canucks. Like, I didn't know that was like a
funny story about that. Darlington 2007. I went down, Buddy and I drove down nonstop, and we get down there, and there's one guy that was in a tent just down from us. He gave me directions to go to his tent to party with him. Oh, my buddy fell asleep. I wasn't good with directions that night. He said, make a left at the red truck. So I walked down to the red truck, make a left, and I walked into a tent where there was another guy who was like, I think he was like 6 days back from Afghanistan. And we had met him earlier because he was camped beside us. And he was like, oh, this is my new Canadian friend. He's going to do tequila shots with us. And I was like, no, I'm not. So I quickly found some Crown Royal, which was made here at the time. Had those, went, and then realized that this other guy that had invited me to the first party, the red truck, if you're looking directly at it, not walking sideways to it, was to the left of the red truck. But anyway, he kept calling me Canuck, right? And then he was wondering why I wasn't getting mad at him, right?
Yeah, see, yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, is that not like a racist term for that? And I was like, no. Right? He's like, well, what does Canuck mean? I was like, Canadian? Like, so it's like, okay. But yeah.
That's so funny.
I
always thought Canuck was like, I always thought it's like I attribute it to being like, like in the South they call Northerners Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're a Yankee, you're from the North.
But however, that'd be more like, calling someone from Boston, oh, you New Englander, and they're like, yeah, your point. Yeah, I've had that a few times, in the infield, and it's like your most base redneck, I'll say, someone who probably leaves his county twice a year to attend the Charlotte races. They were like, yeah, Canuck, and I'm like, your point? And they're like, well, Canadians are so nice. I insulted him, and he didn't get mad, but you didn't insult me.
I will say I did not fully realize the Canadian NASCAR fan base. Like the first time I ever went to Pocono, I was living in South Jersey. My husband was stationed there, and we went to Pocono, and it rained out. And I don't know if you guys remember this. I don't remember what year it was. I want to say it was, when did we move here so far? 2016-ish, maybe.
I was gonna say, isn't this the first year it hasn't rained at Pocono?
Well, it rained. Jeff Gordon won on a rainout, and a guy was killed by lightning strike. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We were there. We walked right past him. It was the scariest thing. But anyway, prior to that, we had beautiful weather, and my husband and I got some barbecue, and we couldn't find a place to sit down, and there was this table. They had just a couple little corners left, and we were like, hey, do you mind if we sit down? And we sat down with them, and we got to chit-chatting, and they're from Canada, and they come every year, and they rent an Airbnb, and like they invited us. They had seats right at the start finish. We had free seats way down at the very end where they were free from the Air Force bottom for us or whatever. So they offered to come have us sit with them, and we hung out with them the whole time we were there, and we shared beers and drinks and laughs, and it was just, they were the most genuinely awesome people. But that was our first eye-opening, Canadians love NASCAR. And so I had no idea.
It's funny, I'd say all through the 90s into the 2000s, when we saw NASCAR growing through the 90s up into the early 2000s. And it was funny because they're like, oh, NASCAR's growing, we're trying to grow the sport globally. And Canada was always an afterthought in many ways. But I would look at the ratings because, I'd read the websites on ESPN.com, and they put out their ratings for a race. And I was like, they'd get let's say a 4.2. And I was like, Meanwhile, the races in Canada, it gets an 8.4. Like you have twice the ratings in Canada that it was in the US for a 20-year span. And I'm like, bring a race up here, guys. But unfortunately, we have no track to really host a race. Beyond road.
KBM, my KBM contact asked if we would fly them to Canada for one of the races. Wasn't there's a truck race in Canada this year?
Well, it was canceled.
It was supposed to be, but they canceled.
Yeah. Labor Day weekend, we have one half hour east of Toronto every year.
Oh. Right by his place.
Yeah, it's an hour up the road from me.
Oh, nice, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got to know me, so I brought a fun little game. If you don't mind, if I throw this out here, so you guys got to know me a little bit in the race in the race
yes,
world.
I'm a slow runner.
So I always used to say that, like, back in the day, even before I worked in the racing, I said, you know what? I was like, Kurt and Kyle, I was like, man, I would love to be a fly on the wall at their Thanksgiving table one day, just to like see what it would be like to be in competition with your family. So now, since y'all are cousins, we're going to pretend you're race car drivers, Doug and Ben as drivers. You're going to answer my questions as drivers.
I'm the one who can drive a standard.
Yeah. If you both were cup drivers.
Ooh. All right.
What's your number? And it doesn't matter if it's a current driver or not. Just what's your number?
11.
1 and
11.
Oh God, here we go. Okay. Who would be your main sponsor?
Like a current. I'll pull one from the Cup Series here.
Anything.
Bass Pro Shop.
Bass Pro Shop. Okay.
Kind of maybe a theme here, but
Yeah.
You know what? Chevy's gonna sponsor me. I'm gonna drive a Chevrolet.
This is rapid fire, Ben. I'm gonna need you to pick it up a little bit. All right.
All right. Well,
here we
go.
go.
I would have stayed more sober today.
Of the two of you, who is most likely to wreck or dump the competition to win a race? Not each other, but the competition.
That guy.
I've seen him wreck a go-kart before. It's him. Among other things, on a trip to Charlotte.
Most likely to throw a helmet at a competitor. Okay.
It's not.
Now,
we threw them at each other.
Okay, Doug, if you were running 1-2 with Ben in a race and you knew that Ben needed to win to get to the next round of the playoffs, would you let him take the checker flag, or would you dump him from the competition and take over?
I'm dumping him all the way.
Ben, what would you do if it was the other?
I would have let him win. I'm a clean racer. I don't do bump and runs for wins. If you can't pass clean, you don't pass.
I want my driver to do more of it.
Yeah. He's way more aggressive. That's what I'm saying. He'd wreck first. Yeah, guaranteed.
I see him as a 10-year-old wreck a go-kart.
And last question, what would be a must-do pre-race ritual?
I don't know if I could say that on air.
You need to go take a dookie? Is that what you're going to say, Ben?
No.
Speaking of that, we do have a picture of Tony Stewart doing that at Charlotte one time.
I do. I have one. He does it every race. I think he did, because I had a picture of him at Dover one time. That's what he did. Right. It was after the national anthem, before he got in the car.
Well, I'm relating to, like, for when I play gigs, if I do anything pre. So the only thing I could do and still be able to race, I guess, throw up. Because I can't down a shot. That's not an option. So
no.
I'm probably gonna put the race suit on the same way every time. This is what I'm gonna do.
Well, yeah, I could say. Well, you're a goalie. You're probably all full of rituals and stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is. But
that's awesome. That's all I had.
Yeah. So
nice.
So talking, we talked before that there was a certain person visited our campsite the one time, which...
Oh my God, you are not going to tell this story?
It took about like 5 minutes for you to get it, that he was there. Like, I was like... Hey,
it took me a moment to clue in, and I arranged it.
Okay, time out. Here we are. We're at Redneck Hill at Charlotte.
Yep.
I am 30 weeks pregnant.
Yep.
Sweating my rear end off.
You were in your car and everything.
I was in the truck of in my truck with the air conditioning on, kicking back, listening to. Was it pre-race or during the race? Or
Or during the race?
During the race.
Yep.
Yeah, it was during the race, and I was just kicking it up, and you were waving at me like a crazy person.
So it made me go to your vehicle. I tell you, and then you ran and beat me back.
If y'all have never seen a 30-week pregnant woman run like sprint, it was.
But then I will say I did get my redemption, because as Tom said about the cup, Flip Cup, I did beat Amy's team in Flip Cup with that cup right there, with the 19 cup, won it.
Nice.
So these are infamous. We know we are like famous for these at our campsite in Charlotte. I have the 11, 18, 19, and 20 on them. We have a red set and a white set, and
it's orange.
we pour milk and diet soda, and we play Flip Cup. These.
That's
It's
right.
fun. But yeah,
I just feel bad because, and I'm going to mention it because we haven't mentioned it first. I was actually the first one of the two cousins to actually meet Amy. I got to meet her a couple of days before Doug did.
Were you? Oh,
Yeah,
you came
to set up the initial tour.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I gave y'all the tour, JGR.
Yeah.
You
well,
just
no,
got,
I was
like,
there for that. He just went over to the hangar with Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time there.
Oh,
And
yes. Okay, I
Yeah.
remember now.
Right, well,
And-
You think you have a bad memory?
well,
I
and the
was
worst part was,
I'm not
had I
sure.
remembered that I would have arranged to have Channing come by or whatever, I would have given you some form of heads up. But since I clearly forgot, the moment I remembered, because I'm watching the race on the big screen with the scanner on, sitting in my lawn chair, moonshine in one hand, beer in the other, the SUV rolls up and I went, oh, right.
Yeah. Did we even mention why I was running or who came? It was Channing Tatum. Like, what other woman wouldn't run?
The best was Mike when they tried to get Mike to come over and get a picture with him. Mike's like, I don't care about him.
Yeah, because I was telling Mike, I'm like, Mike, get
I'm
over
busy.
here. And he's like,
I'm
I don't
busy
care.
barbecuing. I don't have time to see him.
Yeah. He goes, I don't care about some Hollywood.
I love my husband. I love my husband more than anything in this wide world. But good grief.
Yeah, I get it, Amy, because we came back, we got back early Tuesday morning. I went out to a jam session Tuesday evening, and normally it's like 8 dudes and a couple of girls, and all of a sudden it was like 6 dudes and 20 girls, and all they wanted to hear about was Channing Tatum, because we're all Facebook friends, and they all knew about it already, and they're like, so, what was he like? I'm like, I didn't sit and have a conversation with the man.
That's so funny.
It was actually
That took me
because-
like 20
because it was
seconds
all
to
the-
clue in who he was.
It was all the wives and girlfriends were like just smothering
Yeah,
him. And
it totally
you
was.
see all the husbands in the back, because they're all military guys that we
Yeah, they're
did.
like-
They're all like hands folded. I could take them.
Yeah, they totally were.
Well, that was the funny part, because I looked at him and I knew, like, I recognized his face. And I'm looking at him like, who the hell is this guy? I'm like,
He's just a little guy.
he's jacked, but he's way too small to be a pro wrestler. I'm like, well, maybe he's like a lightweight MMA guy, and I don't follow MMA. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, it's Channing Tatum. Right on.
But the
So
thing is,
funny.
though, who brings a pack of 12 Coors Light for like 60 veterans?
Yeah, that's like, he brought beer?
He brought a 12-pack of Coors Light.
And if you would have looked after the race in the cooler, there was 12 cans of Coors Light left in the cooler, and that was it.
I
All the
mean,
other stuff was drank. So yeah,
bless.
but
That's
Yeah,
so
a couple
funny.
people grabbed one by mistake and just put it back. It wasn't like they're, although the funniest is still when we do the Labatt's Blue depth chart. We like to mix about 4 Labatt's Blue in amongst about 50, 60 Bud Lights. So you just see that blue can and they crack it. And also they're like, oh, what's this?
Oh, I'd know the difference.
Yeah.
Don't
Well, they
forget, I
know
did
after
go to
the first
college at Michigan State, and Canada was just a hop, skip, and a jump after I turned 18 or 19.
That's right.
But the one thing just going back to the tour that you did take us on.
Yeah.
My one thing that I took away from that, and whenever people talk about JGR, it's not a team. I don't see JGR as a team. It's a family.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it's not just a JGR family. It's, I guess we only have to call them the Washington football team now, because those players are hanging around the shop too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's that one big family.
Yeah, come to think of it, Doug, I think we've stopped in that shop 3 times, and I don't recall not seeing an NFL player there.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's
Yeah,
just
Ronaldo Wynn always is hanging around. He's no longer with us. He left us this last year I guess the beginning of 2020 or end of 2019 after last season. And we now, in his place, we have James Thrash.
Oh.
So if you don't know anything about James Thrash, look him up. He had a pretty awesome career with the Eagles and with Washington. I refuse to call them the football team. So with Washington, formerly known as.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So, so James, he's, I mean, I would love for everybody who could stop by the shop to stop by the shop. We're still not open yet due to COVID. So, after we open, I hope everybody stops in, checks out. You can view cars in the lobby. We have a retail shop. You can view the shop floor. All of that's really cool.
Yeah,
So.
it's even like just from the regular public standpoint, great, nice big gift shop with nice variety, because we've hit a lot of shops and they do have one of the best gift shops. Hey, Guitar Man 45.
There's still that one shop that we cannot find.
It doesn't exist. It's in the cloud.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you looking for?
We did find KBM when we were looking for Penske that one day. It was like, well, let's just go to here then.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we've tried on 3 different years to look for Penske, and we've come up dry every time with a variety of addresses too. And we have a different address every time, and we go, and not even is there not a building, like it's just a field. And
that's crazy. I'll have to ask, because we have if you go into JGR and you visit JGR, they'll give you a paper that has like directions to all of the other race shops in the area. So I'm wondering if it's listed on there.
Yeah. It's now become more of a game.
Yeah. Let's see how many race shops we can find without finding Penske's.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
And so definitely. And I was gonna say, the viewing areas are nice. You can see a fair amount of the shop. What you can't see from the public viewing areas, really, you got to be a real gear nerd like myself. Because I can get lost looking at like rear axles for 15-20 minutes. So that's me. And that's my cross to bear. So,
Amy, when we're doing our little tour, you do not want to come to Ken Schrader's shop with Ben, because he picks up wrenches and hammers and just starts crying.
That's why we just leave you be. You could do your own thing, dude. We got other things to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and like I say, you got the cars in the lobby, which is great. You can get right up to them; they're not roped off. 10 feet away.
Yeah.
It's not like Stuart Haas where you're looking directly at the cars and you can't take a photo because it just reflects back at you.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Or get chased away by security at the Haas F1 shop.
Oh no! I'm sure there's a story behind that one. Good grief!
Hey, if they didn't, they should have built a higher hedge. So they're so secretive with Formula One, and I decided I didn't agree with said security measures, and I just had Doug handy with the truck running, and that was probably the last time Doug saw me run.
Yeah. But that's we I think every time we've gone to a different race shop, we do have a story.
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah.
We went that first time at MWR.
Yeah.
When it was like we were there, we were on the tour, and they take you into the fab shop. They used to take you into the fab shop, and there was a big sign, no cameras, right? Which is understandable.
Yeah.
But there was 2 guys on the tour with us with Hendrick Motorsports shirts taking pictures.
It was Hendrick employees.
I'm not sure if they're Hendrick employees now, but they had like the Hendrick.
No, they were, because you went, check out those 2, and I saw the credential.
It's like,
They had their card on a little zinger thing on your belt, and I'm like, gee, and we wonder why MWR is no longer in business.
no. Hey, those
One of my
pictures on the left.
close friends is a huge Hendrick fan, and she came to visit. You know her, Stormy.
Yep.
She came to visit, and she wanted to go to Hendrick, and I was like, "Well, look, I'm dressed for work, so I mean, I guess I'll go." And I busted up in there, and hang on, I'm sorry, my children. It's about that time. Anyway, I busted up in there, and they thought they were looking at me like side-eyed, like, is she like undercover? Like, I wanted to be like, look, dude, if I was undercover, you think I'd bust up in here in my uniform?
Right.
Think twice here.
Just said, hey, I got a laptop for sale.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, when it comes to race shops, if you don't want me climbing all over your equipment, you better put up some velvet ropes. And because Doug, he knows if there's a car on display, if I can get into it, I'm getting into the car and sitting in the car. Apparently, I share the same ass as Jeff Gordon.
Because you squeezed right in.
I sat in one of his race seats, and I was like, this is better than a lazy boy. I felt so comforted. And I gave my girlfriend a dirty look on getting out of the car.
They literally pour the mold for everybody. Oh, yeah. It's really cool. I did not know they did that until I started working for a race team. I was like pretty shocked at that.
They're way better than the old seats we used to use on the short tracks. That's for sure.
Good grief.
I'm sliding around in the seat a lot, so you wedge some more foam in on one side.
Too funny.
See, that's the other thing why I say Ben would wreck, because hey, I got it right that time. He wrecked like his first race with his mother in the stands.
I did not wreck. I got bent out of shape. I got T-boned, but I saved it because I have a career average finish of 3rd. Thank you very much. In fact, I finished 2nd in that feature.
If you're not first, you're last, Ben. Sorry.
It was my first time ever behind the wheel.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool.
And we've still been.
I don't even want to address that comment. I'm not even.
We're still debating on whether we're going to show the 8 laps of screaming that I had at Richard Petty at Disney.
Screaming an apology.
I wasn't screaming. It was the other.
Yeah. The instructor screaming and Doug saying sorry repeatedly.
That's so funny. I did it. My husband did a ride along at Charlotte Motor Speedway for like 6 laps, and he said he got out and he was like, holy crap. And he's like, he was shaky. He's like, how does Carl Edwards get out and do a backflip after doing hundreds of miles? Because he got out and he was so like dizzy and shaky just after 6 laps at those speeds. It's insane.
Yeah, but was he riding along like passenger side?
Oh, yeah, he rode along. He didn't want to drive.
I was driving.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been a similar situation.
Yeah, I can't do the ride along.
It felt slower than what you would have thought.
Yeah.
It feels much faster when you're riding than driving, and that's one of the reasons I want to rather drive. But one of the things is we're only ever at Charlotte, and I've knocked down the turn 4 wall coming out of 4 at Charlotte in many a sim, so I refuse to take a car out at Charlotte because and they do detune them, but you can't go flat out, and I'd try. So
they do ride-alongs at the Roval quite a bit. Through the Roval race, and then they do.
Ben's already did a ride along at the Roval.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh,
in a Dodge 1500 Ram.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. I remember the one time, because as you know, we would camp for both weekends. So Marshall would bring his trailer over for the All-Star race, and then move it over to the other campsite and leave it there. So he'd ask us to keep an eye on it, and it'd be like, "Go check on Marshall's trailer." Well, you could walk over. No. Take the truck, and you got to take the Roval around. And a few times we've had the tires howling on the Roval.
Yeah, we were on there with the golf cart with Monica and Sam. They took us out there one late night.
Actually, that's the requisite is Sam on the golf cart taking you around.
Yeah.
But that is the thing with down there is that everyone there is again the family, right? So
yeah. Exactly. Trent said it best. I think it was after I'd missed the 1 year and I came back, and he's like, "Welcome back, the family missed you because it's a family reunion, and it's not the same without the whole family there.
Actually, I think we even took the picture of your birthday with all of us flipping you the bird.
Yes, you did. I missed that, and I was playing a gig that night on my birthday, and Doug started teasing photos of people giving me the finger, and then I think it was just before I went on for stage for the first time, I get this group photo, and I came on stage, and I was in a piss poor mood prior to that because I should have been there. And looking back, Doug, I really should have been there and said screw it.
We are not going to talk about her because she's right below Logano on the list.
Yeah, that's true. So there we are. And so he sent me the group photo, and that just made my night. And I went up on stage and kicked some tail and hoisted a drink in honor of those folks, and they honored me, and that was awesome. Hell, I even had my 40th birthday party down there, which was quite the surprise.
Yeah.
That was...
Don't you all usually towards the end here get to do show and tell?
Yeah. I've got nothing to show. Ben, I think you've shown everything. I think it's Amy's got the it's going to be better show and tell than any of us.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, right? I'm taking it off so I can show it up.
Full screen.
So my show and tell, if I can get it.
Right there.
There we go. That there, my friends, is a 2019 championship ring. Kyle Busch, there's the 18. And I did get my initials on the other side. And this year they did put JD's logo on there for JD Gibbs.
Nice.
And you have the date. And then my name, you probably won't be able to get to see it, but it's engraved on the inside. So we just got that bling recently. Ooh.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Beats the heck out of anything I can show.
The championship celebration was one of the coolest things that I've ever attended. That was awesome.
Nice.
It was really, really, really privileged. I just felt really just like honored to be able to. It was a privilege to be a part of it as a whole. When we went to Nashville, it was pretty cool. So,
well, like I said before, JGR is the family, right?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. 1,000,000%.
You know, and for as much as people will put Kyle Busch down, nobody does as much for fans as Kyle does.
Yeah, I agree totally.
And Kyle has also taken up the mantle thrown down by Kevin Harvick in supporting the truck series and keeping that series alive the last number of years.
Yeah.
Right.
So
he does a lot. He does a lot for our team, racing as a whole, and you know, him and Samantha have the Bundle of Joy Foundation, and I mean, I just think that he gets a lot of heat, and either you love him or you hate him. There's really no in between. I used to be quite a hater, but you know, I always say that there's different opinions. There's the fan perspective, there's a team owner perspective, there's an employee perspective, there's a sponsor perspective, and they never are the same. So
I've maintained since he drove for Hendrick, I can't stand him, but I'd hire him in a heartbeat.
The guy can drive. Well,
yep,
maybe not.
Exactly.
Maybe
and I think at that time I hated him only because it was a cockiness, but then he backed up the cockiness, and I was like, well, now I hate you even more because it's jealousy at that point, I think.
Well, really, and his finishes now have been getting better.
Yeah.
These last few races.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah, it has been getting better. I'm hoping that he can pull out a win at the end of this season, and just salvage something so far for 2020 because it's been one of those years, as we all know. So, but I appreciate you guys so very much for having me on as your very first guest. I feel very honored, and I miss y'all. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages. And
at least Doug got to go down last year. I didn't even get to make it down last year. So
I got to fly down.
Yeah, he was our honorary Canuck, and we took care of him. I brought him a tent, which he didn't necessarily need, thankfully, but he just kind of crashed wherever he could find a spot.
Yeah, that's Doug.
We took care of him. I told him the whole time. I was like, "Do you need a towel? Do you need a break? Like, what do you need?"
Yeah, it's and Marcus, I know you're probably watching at some point here. I still have to get you back for trying to chain me to a golf cart the one night at like 3 a.m. You will get back at that. I think it was him and Mike. Because
I didn't know about that. That's good.
Well, okay. Well, I will assist in that because I have some payback for Rob for handcuffing me. So,
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway,
even know this stuff
yeah.
goes on. I'm not getting involved in all that.
yeah, but all I have to do is just clap near Rob, and that's enough for him. So.
But yeah, it's that family is fun. That race family that we all get down there is fun, and I think Marshall is still ruling, lending us that hammer that first year that we met him.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry. He said, and I love it. He puts A at the end. I say A all the time because, like I said, I'm from Michigan. I'm practically Canadian anyway.
Yeah, you're
right?
an honorary Canadian.
Yeah, and my husband's like, stop asking me that at the end of every sentence.
Yeah, he's going to love it after hanging out with us for an hour.
I know, because I'll swing right back into that Yankee accent.
Well, Doug, I think this has been a hell of a show. Amy, if you're open to it, we'd love to have you back on for a part 2.
Yeah.
I will say after the Truex win ceremony at the end of the season.
Oh, we have to do picks for Bristol? Yeah. Sunday.
Okay, right. Yes.
Well,
At least someone's on the ball.
Yeah, I don't know what picks you guys usually do for do you do Xfinity and Cup or Truck? I don't know if there's
whatever we can remember to do.
Yeah, usually we do Cup for sure. Your driver you think you're going to definitely win, and then a couple of guys to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Brad Keselowski riding momentum of Richmond into Bristol.
No. He's a super speedway guy. He's like a restrictor plate. Richmond was a fluke, if you ask me.
Yeah.
No, I'm taking Kyle. I really think
Kyle's
I think even if he's into any mess, I think he's still going to drive the wheels off of it, and he's hungry. He is so stinking hungry, and the whole team is. I'm taking Kyle.
Is Adam back this week? I think Adam's back this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So it's my pick.
Who's your pick,
Well,
Doug?
Mike will probably finish second, but he's starting third. I can't get away from Truex because I think he's going to take it.
There you go.
He's hungry. He's hungry too. And short tracks usually aren't his thing, but after he got the one, his first short track, big short track win and JGR and everything, I think he's just really got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I think, and he's driving more aggressive lately, which I really like him putting another kid in the wall. But but it's that's what I wanted.
Yeah, I say, obviously, keep an eye on Kurt Busch. Yeah, he's always good at Bristol.
Maybe we'll see.
Did earlier rally from Brian Blaney. Denny Hamlin's going to run well, I think.
Yeah.
I'll always say any JGR driver. You know me. It's my people.
Yeah.
Especially at Bristol, all 4 cars.
Yeah, Bristol's such a. I feel like I need that just in case. But Bristol's a good track for us, so we'll see.
Nice.
All
right. Before we let you go, Amy, who's your prediction for the championship?
So we're not we don't gamble or anything like that, but my husband, just for funsies, like to fill out a bracket, and I do have Denny taking the championship this year. I feel like he's earned it. He's a champ. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame driver, in my opinion. I think he's a phenomenal guy. I think he's a phenomenal race car driver, and this has been his year. So yeah. I think Denny
it goes well too. Just you have to do one thing though: sneak into the race shop, and then check the plane. No tape goes to Phoenix at all. No tape.
He made a joke about that at our Christmas party last year, and I about died. That thing was like the size of his arm.
Yeah. And make sure Truex has L and R on all of his tires. They're going.
Makes an L, Martin.
Because they would have been 1-2 last year if not for that.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but hey.
Well, thank you again, guys. I truly appreciate y'all. God bless, and thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us.
And don't message during the race this time because they always wreck. Something bad always happens when you and I start messaging during the race.
Yeah, we'll just keep it quiet till the end.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of Doug and Amy, I'm Ben. Thanks for watching NasCanucks. Enjoy the racing from Bristol. It's going to be awesome. And there we go. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.